next to that should be, maybe what you should be doing or what order you should be doing them in. I know that for me as a physio, also running kind of clinical rehab, clinical Pilates, also trying to look at slightly more online business and changing how I function. There's lots of things that happen. So, for example, today I had clients that came into the studio, I had clients that I was seeing, I had notes that needed doing. I also got some phone calls from people, a couple of people needed reports writing. And also, I had this podcast to do. The podcast was actually due yesterday, but yeah, I didn't. I didn't get to it yesterday because there were other things that took my attention. So when we're busy and we have all these things just basically pulling us in a different direction, what do we do? And the main thing is that it's kind of decision fatigue. We're getting 10 different decisions, and what is the most important one to do, and what one should we act on? So at the end of the day, I look at it as, okay, what is needing to get done today? What has to happen today? So yesterday there was 2 reports I had to get out. There was something that was very important that was due, and that had to get done. The podcast, I knew, yes, I would love to have done it yesterday, so it was all pre-recorded and ready for today, but that wasn't going to be a priority in terms of if I didn't get the reports done and out to the people who needed them, there would be repercussions. And things like that. We need to get some things done, and that was a have to, must do. The podcast was I would love to get this done, but it wasn't. If the podcast goes today or tomorrow, it's not a life kind of threatening decision for anyone. So we have to really identify what is a priority for us. So for me, when I'm looking at my priorities, I'm looking at, okay, are we looking at something that I would like to have done because I want it done and I would like it done? Am I looking at something that, like the reports, they have to be done? People are relying on them, people are expecting them. There was a deadline to meet that has to be done. So that's on a higher priority level. The other side of things is if we have different ideas and different things streaming around in our head, what is then the potential for those? Do we have to have that done today? Is it something that could be in the someday box? Or is it something that's really going to make a change in our business? So that's kind of where I look at it. If I've got 10 things I need to do and I've got to pick 3 of them, are the 3 that are getting done because they're a priority and they have to be done today? Are the 3 I'm getting done ones that are actually going to make a big, massive impact in my business? So what's going to happen is they will create, revenue. Is what I'm doing actually building the business forward? And that's kind of how I base my decisions. Is it a has to and a priority? It's urgent, it needs doing, it's got a deadline, doesn't matter what, it has to be done. Is it something that's moving the dial a little bit? And I have the same thing in physio. If we're doing a small little thing every day, it's going to move that dial gradually forwards rather than going, I want to be here, how do I get there? A small little bit of consistency is going to make that happen. So urgency, prioritization, and effect is kind of the 3 big things we need to be looking at. So I'm running a clinic, I'm trying to do brands, I'm trying to make this podcast, I'm trying to make a relevant one with this physio as well, and I'm trying to update websites, building courses, planning products, the whole galah of 20 million tabs on. And how do I prioritize that? So I'm trying to make a commitment to me to say, I want to do the podcast weekly. And for this week, if it hasn't happened yesterday, it's happening today. So I'm actually recording this on a Tuesday, not the Monday. And it will still go out. It will still happen. It's just not quite being done the way that I would like it to be done. And this is where, we have to be a little bit kind to ourselves as well. We have to kind of say, okay, am I lazy? Am I productive? Am I just inconsistent? Am I, disorganized? And that's one thing that I've kind of tried to come to terms with, that really what I've been doing for a long time is actually kind of been a little hamster on the wheel, and I've kind of gone, okay, I'm running around and around, 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 but what I'm actually doing forward, like what am I doing to move forward and change this? What am I actually doing that's going to take a chance and change what I'm doing, as opposed to like, I've got 50 things to do, I've got 50 things to do, and the next week I've got 50 things to do. And we all want to be in that situation where what we do changes something. We want to be in that situation where I know what I've done is actually going to have an impact. I know that whatever I'm doing now, that, you know, in 6 months' time, hopefully I've got 20 plus podcasts live, because I've been doing them weekly, rather than me coming in 6 months' time and said, oh, if I started that podcast, I would have 20 episodes now. Hopefully when a 6 months' time comes, I'll actually have 20 episodes there, because I've started that procedure. And then I'm on the front foot, because that is giving me some momentum to move forward. So I'm slightly moving the dial. The other thing that tends to happen is that we try things, and I know I am a big culprit. I have a fabulous idea and I go, let's go and do this. And then no one buys it, no one wants it, no one's interested in it. And I go, well, that's not going to work. But I haven't done the social media, I haven't done the, you know, finding out if it's something people want. And I found out that some people might want it, but I haven't gone the extra step and actually gone, okay, well, who is going to be interested in this? You know, I put it out to, you know, the universe and said, here it is. But I haven't really done that. I've told myself, here it is, it's on my website, so why can't you find it? So we also have to take responsibility and go, okay, I thought that was a fabulous idea. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? Did I have all this great expectations, but I hadn't actually done some of the footwork? And that is kind of in that planning stage as well. We have so many things that we have to do. And then by the time we get to that point, we're like, oh my God, that took me so much effort. And it took me so much time to get to here. But what have I actually done to create it? And what have I actually done so that, you know, 100 people that can help actually know, here it is. So, you know, I'm kind of waving my banner going, yay, I've got this product, or I've got this online course, or I've got this thing that can help you, but I haven't told anyone about it. So how would they know? It's like having a sale and just not advertising it if you're a shop owner, or, you know, saying we've come up with this fantastic coffee machine that gets things done, but we didn't bother promoting it, so we think it's a flop. And this is part of the business cycle, and it's also part of life cycle as well. You know, when we're sore, or we think, you know, we've got an injury, or we need to stretch more, and we think, yeah, I should really do that. If we'd actually taken the time and just go, you know what, I'm just going to stretch here quickly every so often, as opposed to, oh, I should have actually started doing this 6 months ago. Now I can't actually lift my shoulder up. You know, just that little bit consistently can happen. But it's also making the right choice. You know, if I want to do this, should I be doing stretches that rotate me? Should I be doing stretches that bend me? And it's the same thing in business. If I'm trying to promote something and I'm trying to grow something, or I'm trying to change a website, what is my top 2, top 3 things that are going to move the dial forward? So instead of asking, what should I be doing today? I've got 20 things on my list. How about we ask, what 3 things are going to make an impact? What 3 things, if I do them today, are going to make tomorrow easier? What 3 things, if I do them today, are going to make somebody look at what I've got? What 3 things can make a difference to somebody else? And that's a little bit of what I've been guilty of before as a physio. I've kind of gone blah, 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 here you go. But I haven't looked at it and said, do you know what? If I actually put this into a package, that would help so many people, because I get asked this question all the time, you know, what can I do to help my back? What can I do that would make this better? And if you ask me face to face and you tell me your problem, I can blurt you out 3 hours worth of info. But putting it in a package that would help people is something I haven't actually done properly and sat down, but I know that's what people ask for. So if we could complete that, what would have the biggest impact? What would help people most? You know, as a business owner, what would help people most? And if we can unlock some of those, we have it where we have that little gradual effect where we're just doing something small that consistently has a thing. I know that a few years ago, I was trying to get myself organized. And what I did was I had a list of running jobs. And to make it a bit more sense in the word, I would have my little Excel sheet with the three running channels. And one was things that took me, less than 15 minutes, things that took me half an hour or an hour, and then things that were going to take me half a day, things that were going to take me longer. So you had that's going to be quick. I'll probably need an hour to sit down for that. That's going to be that. So if I was spare, I could just go, okay, I've got half an hour. What can I do from that list? Oh, I've got, 3 hours of time. What can I do from that list? So that I'd already pre-planned what those things were. Did it work? It kind of worked for a while. And then I'm sure I got distracted doing something else, but I've still got my list. And I kind of look back every now and again and go, oh yeah, I did do all of those jobs. I did do that. So it also depends on what your psyche's like and what your brain's like. Do you like to have lists that tick things off? The other things that is, does something scream at you, and it's screaming at you the loudest? And sometimes things that are screaming at us the loudest might not be the ones that need doing. It might be ones that we want to do because it's like, I quite enjoy doing that. So that's really, I'm really attached to doing that, as opposed to the ones where we go, you know what, I hate doing this, but it's something I need to do. So it's also is it got enough glitter and, symbols and bangs to draw our attention, or is it kind of like mundane and boring? And if it is, then what can we do to make that seem a little bit more interesting for us? So if you're there and you've got your list of 20 things, 10 things, 5 things, what do you do? What is your go-to for changing that? My kind of go-to tends to be write a list, see if I can tick off from the list. And sometimes, especially because I like having things that I scrub off, I'll actually write things down I've already done and I'll scrub them off already. And like, okay, well, I did that this morning, so I'm going to write it as a list and scrub it off so I can see that I've achieved something. And sometimes seeing that we've achieved something is enough as well. So I'd love to know, what are you struggling with? What are you putting off? What 3 things would you do that would move your dial forward? What are, things that kind of complicate things and stop you moving forward? We all know what we've got to do. We all know what are the things that kind of pull us. But if we've got heaps of things kind of changing us, like, papers that are everywhere, lists and notebooks and things like that, we kind of look at them and go, okay, I've got that. What am I going to do? Don't really want to do that today. I'll put it off to tomorrow. And then turn the page over and see if something's better on that side. So if that's resonated with some of you today, I'd love to have another coffee chat with you. Take one small action and hopefully gaining clarity out of chaos and moving that dial forward will show you and give you a little bit of consistent growth to do that. And if you're still feeling stuck and a bit overwhelmed, then no, you're not alone. There's many of us out there who kind of go, why are they so together? Why do they come and, they look, and I think, God, they make it look so easy. It looks so like they're not struggling at all. But when you actually sit down and talk to people, we're all in the same boat. We just manage it differently. And I want to be real on here and say, I am kind of one of the worst. I can look at other people's businesses and go, oh, that's so easy. You should be doing this. You should be doing this. It's easier if you can do this. And I don't do it for myself. So hence this podcast. So you can find me at sareehewlett.com. I've got a few different ways that you can work with me. I am much better at working with other people because I have accountability. So I will definitely get your work done. Stuff for myself, that's a little bit of a different thing. So keep asking questions, keep looking for the missing piece, and hopefully we'll see you next week on the same channel. Hopefully done on Monday, not Tuesday.